Hello, I'm Jeff Rathjen, and I'm the Recalcitrant DBA. I'm building a YouTube channel along with a support system to help you learn all about SQL Server. My goal is to provide anyone that has a computer with the chance to learn how to manage SQL databases and to write code to interact with those databases. And this is all free. I've been working with SQL Server since it became a product back in the late 1980s, and with other databases before that. I've also been professionally teaching Microsoft products since 1987. I really believe that you shouldn't have to pay for knowledge, so I'm teaching you what I know for free. All you need to know to participate is how to get around your computer reasonably well. And the only thing you'll need to have is a computer that is fairly modern and an internet connection. But on the other hand, if you didn't have those things, you wouldn't be watching this video. So I think you're in good shape. You may be wondering where the recalcitrant part comes from. The definition of recalcitrant is, quote unquote, having an obstinately uncooperative attitude toward authority. Well, I've been called recalcitrant before by bosses because I insisted on doing things the way I knew to be right, not the way they told me to do them. So the name kind of stuck. And to be honest with you, I'll take it. I like it. It's a badge of courage for me. So I will be releasing one video per week. The exception is this first set, we're going to release the first 3 videos all at once. But after that, we'll be releasing one video per week. They're going to be short, and they'll give you enough to work on that throughout the coming week, you'll be able to work with those and learn, and then each week will build upon what you've already learned. You're going to be able to ask questions of me, and I will respond. I won't respond quickly. I won't promise you that I will, because I won't, but I will respond. I'll respond that week. You'll be able to ask questions via the comments down below here in the YouTube channel. You'll be able to ask questions via Twitter, and you'll be able to ask questions via email. I would say this: if you want the questions to be asked or answered privately, send me an email. But if the question you're going to ask might benefit someone else, send it via Twitter or in the comments so others can see the question and benefit from my answer to that. My Twitter, email, and other contact info will be in the description right below this video, so you'll have that. One other thing, make sure that you subscribe to this video channel and then turn on notifications so you'll know when a new video is being released. In this first part, we're going to cover how you write T-SQL code. T-SQL is the query language that you're going to use to query, insert, add data to, modify existing data, and delete data that already exists. And by the time we're done with this first series, you'll have a good in-depth knowledge of how to do those things. And you'll be ready to go off and start working in the field. In the next series, when this one is done, we're going to cover SQL Server itself. And it will be more of a DBA or database administrator track. And it's going to show you how to manage SQL Server, doing things like installing it, creating databases, backing it up and restoring, those kinds of things. So it will take you along a path toward becoming a DBA. By the way, these are incredibly valuable skills. especially if you're out looking for work. They're very helpful to have. After we get done the T-SQL series and the DBA series, we're going to take a look at SQL Server in Azure. Azure, if you're not aware, is Microsoft's cloud-based offering. So in other words, instead of having a SQL Server machine sit in our data center on site in our building, we're going to be dealing with SQL Server running in the cloud in somebody else's building. There are a lot of interest to that these days. There are a lot of reasons to move to it. We'll get into that when we get there. But if you have good, solid knowledge on SQL Server in Azure, you're very, very valuable, either to your current boss or to a future boss. When that's all done, the last part of that, we're going to deal with a tool called Power BI. And Power BI is a tool that you can use to read data from SQL Server and create what we call visualizations. In other words, reports, dashboards, key performance indicators or KPIs, those kinds of things. Another very in-demand skill set. Okay, now as we go along, you can just sit and watch the videos, and that's perfectly fine if you'd like to do that. But if you want to come along with me and do the work and get the practice in, you're going to need 4 things. You're going to need a copy of SQL Server. You're going to need a copy of a sample database that we're going to be using. You're going to be needing a copy of a tool called SQL Server Management Studio, or we often just call it SSMS, or sometimes just Management Studio, and it's the tool we're going to use to work with SQL Server. Finally, you're going to need both patience and stick-to-itiveness. I can give you the first 3 of those things for free. The 4th, the patience, you're going to have to do that on your own. But if you want to come along and do the work for me, I will each week give you a homework assignment. The homework assignment is completely optional. It's up to you. You can do it or not do it. Imagine that, optional homework. If high school had been like that, well, never mind. Down in the description below here, down underneath my Twitter and contact information, you will find 3 links. Those 3 links are going to be where you can go get the things I mentioned: SQL Server, the sample database, and the Management Studio. Okay, so one by one, let's just simply open those up. All right, over here I've got the link and the URL for downloading SQL Server itself. So I go to that first link, and what I want, there's a lot of stuff on here, don't get confused. I want to scroll down just a little bit, and what I'm looking to pick up is this right here, the Developer Edition, and it's free, and you can download it. So go ahead and click Download Now. And you're going to save it to some place that you will remember. So your browser may be different, but in essence, one way or the other, you're going to click at Save. You're going to save it. And just make sure you put it somewhere that you will remember where it is. I'll click Save. That's going to take a little while to download. So while that's running, let's go get the rest of the stuff. Go ahead and go to that second link, and we'll download the sample database that we'll be using throughout this work. If you look here, you'll see it says AdventureWorks Sample Database. AdventureWorks is the name of that database we're going to work with. Might as well get used to it. You're going to be typing it a lot. And if I scroll down, you'll see there's download backup files, and underneath there's one called AdventureWorks 2019.bak. Make sure you get the right one. If you don't, things aren't going to work perfectly, and you'll be struggling the whole time. So it's this first one here, AdventureWorks 2019.bak. Once again, click on it, and we're going to save it to the same location we saved SQL Server to. I'll click Save. Once again, we're going to let that download. It will take a little time. And we'll go to our third thing. We're going to come over to the SQL Server Management Studio and go to that link. And I don't know, just down a little bit underneath Download SSMS, there's a link right there. Click on it, and yeah, you guessed it, we're going to save it. And we're going to save it in that same location. Okay, so everything is downloading right now. We're going to let that run, and you'll want to get them all downloaded. Once they're all downloaded and we get them installed, that's going to be every tool you're going to need to do this series, and they're all free. Now, do me a favor, don't install them yet. There's another video that follows this one immediately after this, and you're going to want to watch that and do the install as I show you, because there are some tips and tricks, there's some pitfalls you can run into, and we want to make sure we get downloaded it correctly and installed correctly so that you're not struggling later on in this series of classes. So don't install them yet. Wait until I walk you through how to do it in the next video setup. So for right now, do me and do yourself a favor. Follow me on Twitter, Recalcitrant DBA. Follow me on Facebook. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and set yourself to get notifications. That way you'll know when a new video gets released. This is going to be a great series. I hope you have fun with it. I hope most of all that you learn a lot from it. So when those things are finished downloading, once they're all done, go ahead and watch the next video, and then we'll get them installed. So hey, thanks for watching the Recalcitrant DBA. Watch the next video after this, and we'll install. I'll see you then.